Hey, friends, welcome back to an episode of Notes from the Edge. I am your host, Lacy, and this is where we have the conversations we should have been having all along. You ain't talking about it, but we're gonna. And today, I'm so excited to have my special guest, Missy Maxwell Worton. Missy is an award winning author, speaker, publishing strategist, author coach, founder of Light Warrior Publishing, as well as Double Edge 7 Publishing and Warrior Writers Development Program. She also happens to be my publisher. That's why I'm so excited to have her, because she helps purpose-driven leaders, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, and aspiring authors transform their life experiences, expertise, and God-given messages into impactful books that build legacy, expand influence, and create meaningful change. Through her publishing and coaching work, she has helped hundreds of aspiring authors take an idea all the way into a published book, guys. She helps you from your God-given idea, because if it's still gnawing at you, there's a reason, and we're going to talk about that today. But she helps you publish, launch, market, write your book. She's had many Amazon #1 bestsellers, including my own book was a #1 new release for 2 months because of her work. Her guidance extends beyond just manuscript into platform development, personal branding, audience growth, book launch strategy, and creation of your message and movement. Her own publishing journey started with her deeply personal book, Don't Mess with Mama, Risking It All to Rescue Our Daughter, which became a #1 Amazon bestseller and has won many literary awards. Before publishing, we're going to talk about that. Missy, so much to say about you. Welcome to Notes from the Edge. How are you today, my friend?
So good to be here. I just love hanging with you. I mean, we
I
could talk for
know.
hours.
We could talk for hours. We could talk for hours.
Yeah.
Well, Missy, let's talk about, normally we talk about how your journey ended up here. So your publishing journey began with your own very intense personal story. So kind of walk us through the beginning of your own journey.
Well, my own journey actually started with somebody telling me, it was an 8th grade teacher telling me that I should never be an author. And and I took that for 30 years, and I decided, well, I can't be an author because I have, in her words, atrocious grammar, and I still might have atrocious grammar. Y'all might catch it. But one of the things that I busted through after we rescued my debut book was actually was written after we boarded the last flight out of Dulles International to rescue our 6-year-old adopted daughter from going into slavery. So we went through a lot, and we had to go into hiding, all of that good stuff. But when I came back, movie producers wanted first dibs on it. And all I could think is, I can't write a book, but they needed me to write the book. And so that's how I ended up writing my first book after I'd already been in film and television for about 30 years, writing for screenplays. And once I did, it just started blowing up, and people started coming to me and saying, hey, I feel like I got a book inside of me. Need a little help here. Don't know what to do next. And so at first I would meet with them over coffee and quickly saw, this is not going to work. I need more time.
We need more time.
Yeah. And
we need
so
structure and some time.
Yeah. And that's it. And it was, we just gave it, I started meeting with people over over Zoom. I have people from Canada, England, all over America. And we meet on Monday and Thursdays, and we give writing prompts. I give feedback on what they've written. I have other award-winning authors now. I've been doing this for 4 years. And when I saw that they were getting, I don't know if the word is gouged, but I was helping them write this amazing book. And then they go to a publisher and spend $25,000 to get published. And I was like, I know what it costs to do this. So I contacted some editors, some formatters, individuals who are good proofreaders, graphic designers.
Have a great team. Yes.
I have an amazing team. I'm so thankful for the ladies and men that work with me. But and we started publishing books 18 months ago. We've published 30.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's huge. That's a chunk of books.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I mean, alone this next month, we have 5 being published in August.
Oh
5.
my gosh. Is that your
And I'm
biggest
like,
month?
woo!
Is that your biggest month? That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yes.
Well, Missy, I don't want to gloss over something, because I think this is where you actually you do help people the most. We're going to circle back to that 8th grade teacher who told you couldn't do this.
Yeah.
So how did you get over that hump? Because I know you walk people who get stuck, right, over that hump. What was it? Just I gotta do this, or was it a forget her, or walk us through that? How did you break through the wall?
And let me just tell you right now, the first step was forgiving her. Once I gotta get her. She is living in my brain rent free. She's out. She's
for
gone.
3 decades.
Yeah, rent free for 3 decades. When we came back, I mean, we came back from Ethiopia after, hiding out, rescuing, being up against this corrupt government official. And one of the producers, he said, I want you to write the book. And I immediately said, I don't write books. And he looked at me like, what the heck? You write movies. And he turned his head and he said, who told you that you couldn't write? And that's when I brought out my flamethrower and pointed it right at my 8th grade creative writing teacher. And he stopped me. He said, that is what we have. That's why we have editors. Grammar has nothing that was it. And he goes, that's it. It has nothing to do with your ability to write a great story, Missy. We'll find an editor. You just write. And
I love it. And that's what you do for your authors.
Yeah. And it was that moment that I was like, oh, wait, why didn't I think about that? My grammar why didn't I think about editors?
They're part of the team. And you have amazing editors on your team. Yeah. So,
we do.
But you say often that writing a book is not about becoming an author. Right. It's about becoming a voice that transforms lives. So how can someone tell the difference between wanting to publish a book and that gnawing message where they know it has to be heard? Like my memoir, Notes from a Certified Madwoman. After being hospitalized and then turning 50, I was like, I gotta tell this story. Like I gotta. I can't leave with it. So what if for our listeners today, they're sitting there with that story in them, what can you say to them?
Well, I mean, your story does matter. And first of all, get all the authority bias out, which is somebody saying you can't do it like me. What happened to me. But the first thing I ask authors is, why do you need to write this book? Why is the passion there? Because we need to get to what your passion is in order to make it where you won't give up on it, because writing a book is no easy feat, as you know, especially if you dig deep and try to find revelation for your readers, because readers are looking for authenticity, they're looking for vulnerability, and they're looking for new revelation to give them answers. I'm going to say this, I might be in trouble, but AI cannot write your memoir. It cannot dive deep. Now, it can structure your memoir really well, but you have to have the words that you emotionally felt and had impact in your life and helped you heal. So the message, first get your why, and then know who you're writing this book to, because nobody is writing a book that millions and millions, the whole world is reading and needs.
That's a good point. Know your audience. Yeah.
FYI, know your audience, know your niche, know your message. And I always tell everybody, write to the audience of one, just one person, your audience. And they're sitting right across from you. They're a best friend. You're having coffee or tea, whatever you want to have. And you're telling them your story. That way it's going to come out authentic and vulnerable. And it's going to be truth. Because you love your friends, you're going to say everything truth, and you're not going to hold back. But the first thing too that I want to say is the first person transformed by your book is you.
Hello.
It is when you go in and you do the hard work, you do the healing, you do the forgiveness, because just like
Mhm.
me, I had to forgive first, because every time I sat down to write, I heard my 8th grade teacher say, "You can't be an author. You have
Mm.
horrible grammar. People will laugh at you." I would hear that. And so finally I had to shut that down. So shut
Yeah.
down the negative words that are coming at you. But the way to do that is just forgive them and say, "You know what? I don't need your opinions in
I'm
my head."
gonna do it anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do
because
it
what they
anyway.
the one thing about, because I speak on authority bias, the one thing about it is when you believe something that an authority figure says to you, you believe it wholeheartedly. And authority figures are teachers, they're coaches, they're parents, they can be
Mhm.
pastors, I mean, we can go down the line, but you believe 100% what they say is truth rather than just another man's opinion or a woman's opinion.
Mhm.
So when we recognize that some really ugly words have been said about what we can or cannot do, and we see it as, well, that's their opinion. They may just not like me because I have blonde hair. They may not like me because I'm short, you know?
Or remind them of their ex-wife. Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We look
I've had that before. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
know. I have been known to remind people of certain people they don't like.
It happens.
Sorry.
It happens. But I
Yeah,
love that. Forgiveness first.
forgiveness
That's
first.
key. Because well, and you brought up an excellent point too. There is a well, especially for something like a memoir, it's a personal excavation that's
Yeah.
required. Like you gotta yes, know your why. Know that there's no way you're getting out without getting the story out, right? You have to do it. There needs to be a have to. So I absolutely love all of that. But yeah, friends, it does and you have to be willing to have the story that you're willing to be married to for a while
Yeah.
because it is a process,
Mhm.
right? So talk to us about that, the that it is a process, not just a one time I'm done event. You're revisiting and you're revisiting and then you're digging deeper and then you're adding more or
Mhm.
taking stuff away. So talk to us about the process and how you need to really be married to your story for a little while.
You really do, and let's just say what happens first. We're talking about the forgiveness because that is so key. That
Mhm.
forgiveness isn't for them, that is for you. So you
Mm,
can move them out of the space in your mindset that they've been living rent free.
mm.
And but the next thing that, when you sit down and you decide, okay, that you would ask one specific question. What was that?
The
Um,
process to
the process. Yeah,
married to your story.
so as I said before, the whole transformation, the first part of the transformation is you. So you
Mhm.
took back the pen to your life by forgiving that person. Now you have the pen to your story. You write your own future. But then
Oh,
when you write your own future, you now have that strong, powerful place of sitting in a place of authority to helping others to transform generations. And when you
oh,
transform generations, this is when you start transforming the culture around you. So you have to start with that. Then why? And your audience. But then the key ingredient here is, what is your message going to be? Now, your message can be already out there, but it's going to be with your frosting on it. Like it
I
could be,
like that. That's good to let people
yeah,
know. It doesn't have to
good.
be like so novel that it never existed because that doesn't exist.
It
Everything
doesn't.
exists,
No.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything is new, but it's told from your perspective. And what I tell my authors is, somebody might not be able to relate to Mel or to relate to Tony Robbins or relate to them, but they relate to you for some reason because your story resembles theirs. And
Yeah.
they can connect with you when you're authentic and when you're vulnerable, because that's when the true story comes out. And I think that is the journey of writing the story, is where you're going to find a deeper message than you ever knew you had, because you go deep. When you go deep, suddenly you recognize, wait, this has been happening since I was a child.
I know, girl, I had to write and then go like sleep half the day because I was like processing some heavy stuff. I was like, wow, this is taking a lot out of me. Yeah.
It's a healing journey. I mean,
is.
because let's admit, you're gonna fight with some shadows. You're gonna go, I'm not facing that. I don't want to. I've buried that for 20 years. But yeah.
Or write the first thing and it's light because you didn't really go there. And then you go back and you're like, oh, I was holding back, because your readers will know if you're holding back, right? They want the raw part of your the real.
They know when a part of your story is missing. They're like, readers are smart. They're very smart.
Yeah. And assume that they're smart, and you don't have to over explain to them. So you have helped hundreds and hundreds of people. I love this. The fact that you have the ability to take a human being with a message from their idea all the way to a published book. I don't even think that exists in many places. Yeah. So what separates authors who actually finish the process and successfully launch their books from those who stay stuck in perfectionism or fear or just stuckness in general, or writer's block, or whatever's coming up for them? What separates the people who get to completion as opposed to the people who stay stuck?
Wow, that's a good question, because I always tell my authors, perfectionism is your enemy. It is absolutely your enemy, because imperfection is where the perfection lies, because that means there's authenticity. Again, going back to vulnerability. And nobody, if you notice, people don't relate to perfect individuals. I mean, they are the most boring characters in a movie, in a TV show, in a book. You're like, okay, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I forgot about that character. You know what I really liked? I really liked when the antagonist just lost it and suddenly he's a nice guy. Something broke within him. That is the beauty of stories, is being willing to face how, maybe, I don't know if the right word is broken or messed up. I mean, how
humanness. It's our humanness.
Humanness, all the mistakes, all the mess that we made, and allowing people to see the transformation. Where a lot of people stop in writing is they want it perfect. They don't want to share their flaws. And that, let me just tell you right now, perfect people are boring.
We want the mess. Give us the mess.
We want the mess. We want the hot mess
people relate to, right? Yes. Because we're all a bunch of hot messes. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's so funny.
I'm a hot mess.
I'm a hot mess most mornings. I'm a hot mess. But I will say perfectionism absolutely will steal your destiny, because you try to make it perfect. You try to keep out the bad stuff. In my book, I'm writing it and I'm like, I'm determined to keep my authenticity in this. And there was some ugly moments. And here I am, I'm a faith. I believe in God, and I was believing in God in this situation where we could have gone to a third world prison. We're, rescuing our daughter. And my husband hacked me off because he's the reason we're stuck there. But there was a bigger plan that I did not see. All I knew is I wanted to fly out of Ethiopia as fast.
You were scared, I'm sure.
I was nervous. So he made the choice not to. And because of something small like finances. But
so you were like, I don't like this.
I'm like, work. So I'm mad, and I share how angry I was. And that how I did want to, we had just driven up a big hill and I was ready to push him back down it without and I was hacked off. I didn't want to talk to him. I said some ugly things, and I'm like, I'm just going to leave it in here. Do you know that everybody who reads my book is like, thank you. Thank you that you weren't perfect. Thank you that you weren't Christian. Thank you that you were just mad at your husband, because most of us walk around mad at our husband.
I killed Brody's plants in menopause. Yep, I killed the plants. I made him cry. It was like, Lisa. I was like,
we made our husbands cry. I made my husband cry. I've apologized, but I was mad. I was mad.
People want to see that. Yes,
they want to see the authenticity. And so, I have had some men go, dude, man, Whoo. And
It's a
my
good thing
husband's like,
they love us so much, right? It's a
they
good
love
thing.
us. Thank God for our good men behind us. I'm just
Yes.
saying. But
Yes.
that book, I will say there's not a perfect book out there. Not a single one. Even with my book, it has received, it surprised me too, but it received over 17 literary awards. And I still
Wow.
find glitches. I still find mistakes. I'm like, oh wow, okay.
I
Well,
didn't know that was there. Yeah.
but perfection is in the imperfection. It's what did I make them feel in what I wrote? And that's the
Mm.
biggest thing. What are you going to make people feel? I made more people feel like they were normal by how I was angry at my husband. I
And
mean,
thank
and
you
I'm
for
I'm
that.
most
Yeah.
yeah, I'm mostly talking to women that they're good women, but they got mad at their husband.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's I made it relatable. I kept it there.
Friends, put that you killed the plants in there, right? Put
Yeah,
that you wanted
yeah.
to roll down the hill. We need to see that too.
We need to
We
see that.
need to be reminded that we're normal too, guys. We
We need to
do.
see a few words slip out. We need to see it.
Don't
Just
leave
to
the
know it's
truth out because again, people will know, and you'll know. You
oh,
know, you're
people
missing out by
yeah,
not being who you really are in it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, in your own story.
And people are so done with fake. They're
I
done.
think so too.
Mhm.
I think so too. We're so tired of being fed the veneer,
We're
you
just like,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
people see through it. I don't know if our intuition has just sparked to a new level,
I
or
think it's just
what,
our awareness, our
our
consciousness,
awareness.
or we're just
Yeah.
and we're so there's a lot going on,
Mhm.
since the pandemic. We've all been stressed out and we just want to know that we're normal and see the realness. So, okay, many authors believe that the difficult part ends once the manuscript is written. So, where is the misunderstanding there? Because it doesn't end once you're done. And what's beautiful about the what you provide to people is you hold their hand during the entire process.
Right.
So, tell us about the process that once the book is done, which you help people get to from idea
Right.
to finished
All the way
book,
to published and
and then
launched.
what? What
Mhm.
happens next?
Well, let me just start this by saying writing your book is where you heal and where your message gets solidified, which your message is going to now be on every podcast, TV show, magazine, all of those things. So that's where you're going to find it. So that's why I'm saying don't skip any part of your book. Some people
Mhm.
are not going to write your book in 90 days. It's going to take years to write it because you're digging deeper, and it's okay. I just want to say it's okay to do that. Launching and getting your book to the audience is where the success actually is, because you don't go through all this. Most of us, it's hard to finish a book because we
Mhm.
get tired of it. But your why, your message, and your audience, but your words are going to be your words, and your actions of getting this book out could be what inspire others to their purpose and calling. So that's why we do so much work in the writing. But in the launching, you have to be ready to speak to your message of what you've walked through. You don't want somebody else's message. It has to come from what you walk through. People will see that. When you're talking
Yeah.
about somebody else's message, they can spot that you're not being authentic to what you just said. And
Oh, people, if you're in front of them,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
or
absolutely.
by all means, do not lie. Do not make
Yeah.
up things, but speak truth to what you've walked through and be ready to answer those questions, that because people read your book to find an answer of how they're going to get through it. And we wrote the book to bring our readers, our audience, we want to see them heal. We want to see them have new revelations of how they can be the highest form of who they're supposed to be, how they
Yeah.
can dismantle the false narrative that they have been leaving in their life. And you come along with this revelation, but not only that, you have lived part of their story. They relate to part of your story. And
They
now
see themselves in your story.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's your audience. Your audience is you 20, 30 years ago. if your main trauma happened in that time. And so we want to see people healed from their trauma. And a lot of people are going to find their trauma in yours. They're going to go, that happened to me and I did not even recognize it. So, so that is, you know, as far as people finishing their book, yeah, it's tough. But if you have your why and listen,
that's what you go to on the hard days. You go back to your purpose, your why. Yes.
And what I tell every single author I work with, have get a 5x7 card and write, here's the reason why I keep writing. Here's why I get up at 4 a.m. to write, because that was the only time I could write, because I had 4 kids. And so, number one, I wrote the reason. I saw the orphans that were being held back and being trafficked. I saw them. And I'm like, I've got to bring awareness and hope to this. I have got to do something. And my voice, through writing and through being on podcasts, my voice became the awareness factor. Now, I also work with rescue missions now. That's one of the things I do. I work with people who go in, use Navy SEALs, and go in and rescue these little girls and little boys. Sadly, it's everybody. So that was my number one reason. I kept seeing the faces of all these sweet little orphans that had nothing but joy. You know, they want to live, and they didn't recognize that their life was really bad. And but then I'd see the older ones, and you could see that reality had done a number on them. And so I didn't want to see that. And I know we live in a world where we're going to, but let's make a difference. And that's, you have to know your why. And the other thing was, I wanted people to know that we still can have a belief system in a God who will rescue us. And he came through for us. And so, and yes, sometimes it doesn't come through, but
there's always a reason, and hindsight always tells you why.
Yeah.
You just got to wait for it. Sometimes it comes in 30 days. Sometimes it doesn't come till 5 years, but there's always a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to my husband, me being so mad at my husband, if my husband hadn't made that choice, my book would have not been the book it is. And my journey would not have been, I had to learn more. I had to learn how to choose love over fear every single day, because we were put smack dab in the middle of radical. And when I say radical, I mean radical Islam is where we were hiding out in a Christian academy. That's where we were. So I had to face every fear a mom could possibly have, losing my daughter. It's not funny, but now I look back and I'm like, I was set up. But
well, what I love about hindsight too is you can find a little dark humor in those really heavy moments.
Yes, and I was like, man, I was set up. The Benghazi had just taken place, so what happened? They're in an area that has barbed wire around, and all outside them there's riots and everything. I'm like, okay, that was and I'm sitting in the same situation November 2012. So I'm like, well, this is just a little too close.
Wow.
What are we trying to develop? What are we trying to get rid of in my fear factor area? Yeah. So
I love that you bring up love and fear, because the opposite of love is fear, actually, right?
It is.
So you do have to in order to bring your message to life, to become a legacy, an impact, which we'll talk about in a minute, you have to fight through that fear every day, right? And turn it into love for yourself first, love for the people that you're forgiving, and love for your audience that you're going to help and plant seeds for. And what I loved about what you brought up earlier is Mel Robbins may not say it the right way. Mel may not, Tony may not, but you may say it where it finally clicks for someone. That's the beauty of writing too. Yeah. You may be the one where they've been told it 15 times, the same thing, but you say it in a way where it finally clicks for them. Oh, I'm getting chills. Such an important message to remember, how important. We can feel like we're nobody, right? I'm nobody. How am I ever going to get a message out there? Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And our message, our voice, even our writing has a frequency. And frequency is huge because
Oh,
our frequency will hit somebody and it'll spark something within their very heart, their soul. And then suddenly that message can come through and it hits, once it hits the heart, it hits the mind. And we now have, now have people who, have that, what we call the aha moment. How did I not see it? It was like me having my aha moment, that you can use an editor. It's like, why didn't I think of that?
I know. It's always like, what?
What just happened to my brain?
Well, what I love that you do too is once the manuscript is done and the book is finished and it comes time for public, you help people because of your entertainment industry experience. You help people get exposure too. So kind of talk about that. Like you are set up to, again, not only help the author start idea, you walk them, hold them hand as they're writing the book, get them unstuck, but then you put them on platforms for visibility.
Yeah, that is huge because how is your audience going to find you? They're not, listen, there's I think over 150,000 books uploaded to Amazon every day. So them trying to find you is like finding a needle in a haystack. So you have to go out there. So people, if they hear you on a podcast, they see you on a TV show, they hear you on radio, or they read something about you in magazine. And here's the other thing, social media. It is the biggest platform we have. But how are, you worked really hard on this book. Now you've got to get it in front of the people who need it. And that's where developing your message, know what your message is, and that's where writing comes in. But one of the first things we do is we sit down. In fact, this week I've been working with a lot of individuals as far as getting their social media ready. Here's the steps we need to go. You need to hit social media hard a month before your book releases. People want to know. And people want to help you pick your book cover. They want to help you pick your title if you're having a hard time with that. Involve your audience. Social media.
Oh, I love that. Involve them in the process. So they're coming along with you.
Yes,
tell them you're having a writer's block day, right?
Yes, people love that.
About that. Yes.
I love that. I love seeing authors on TikTok going, okay, guys, I'm having a really hard time writing today. Don't know what I'm doing. I think I'll just go watch some K-dramas, get some inspiration.
It's a Netflix binge day. Yes.
Yes, Netflix. Here we go. But the beauty is that when you start, what we did is we have a faith side that we publish faith books, but then we have a positive, you just have a positive message the world needs. You don't involve everything. You don't involve scripture and all that stuff. You just have a positive message. So that's where Double Edge comes in. And then we have Light Warriors over here. But
I love that you have both publishing companies. And woo, that's a lot, girl. Oh my God, you've got so much going on.
Because I have some people that they're just like, that's just not my audience. And I'm like, we need to go with your audience. So we find their audience, we find the podcast, we find the TV shows, we find all of the things that where they need to go. One of the things that we have is we have 2 magazines that love for the ladies that I work with to write magazine articles, monthly magazine articles and they give us a subject. And then we have the other thing that we do is yearly we go to a national for our ours that have a faith base or a faith undertone. We go to what's called NRB and introduce them to podcasts, TV shows, you name it, radio shows.
Much exposure. So much exposure. I love it.
We prepare them because we've got a speaking coach that works with everyone who we work with because they need to know how to speak on podcasts. In fact, Lisa helps. How do you speak? How do you speak to your message? Because you want to be able to answer when somebody says, tell us what your message is. Tell us what your book's about. And you don't want to sit there and go, well.
Well, and a lot of authors and writers are a little introverted. So I love the fact that you provide that coaching as well. We need that. We need that little boost. We need a little cheerleading, So,
Yeah, and it doesn't
What
stop. I'll just say it doesn't stop.
the
I've been
process?
doing
No, you keep
podcasts.
going.
Yeah, it doesn't stop after, 6 months after you've released your book. That's where the strongest push is, but I'm still doing podcasts and TV shows 6 years after I launched my book.
That's
Um,
amazing.
so you have to be
Congratulations,
ready. Oh,
Missy.
thank
That's
you.
amazing.
But
Yeah.
the beauty is that you've got something to say and there's an audience that needs to hear it. So never be shy and never think, "Oh, I don't want to put myself out there." You're not putting yourself, you're putting your message out there,
That
which is
will change lives.
it's going to heal people, it's going to transform people. Like I said earlier, it's going to be the action and the words that you say are going to be what inspires someone to go after their very purpose and the calling that they're supposed to do while they're on this planet. They're
Their
just too afraid
mission.
to do it.
Yeah,
Which
their
you said.
mission.
So I interrupted you, but on with
Oh
the
no,
next.
it's your podcast. No, this is your show. This is your show. So, how do you help? This is a good one too. How do you help authors kind of honor the difficult parts as you're walking them through in the program in the writing process? How do you walk them through some of those difficult parts that maybe they're scared to excavate or dig into? Kind of what's your process for that, for holding their hand as they're getting through some of those difficult parts that may actually be preventing somebody today from actually writing?
Wow. Okay. So this is where now we do have a coach, even that when people have writer's block,
Mhm.
most likely it is coming from a trauma. And they either don't
Mm,
want to expose something, don't want to expose someone. They're afraid if they expose someone that that person will come and harm them. There's some real, scary things out there. With us, we had some very corrupt government officials that were after us to put us in a third world prison. So there was fear in as I was writing the book that I had to constantly put down. But with traumas, let's just talk about traumas because
yeah. We talk about
everybody,
trauma all the time on here, girl.
yeah, let's
Go.
go there. I will say every single one of my authors that I've worked with has a trauma that they have dealt with. And that trauma is not there to define them, but it's there to, they look at it and the problem is they've let it define them. And what writing their story has done has shown them that they're not the victim. That's the problem over there, the one that delivered the trauma. It's going to be a problem if I keep holding on to it. and
Yeah.
and they heal from the trauma. They see the other person as who they are. They forgive so that they're not
Yeah.
living your truth. But the whole thing is with writing a trauma, there is such a thing as writing or even doing. I knew this with film and television. Some of the scenes we would do, we would have to be a little careful because it is real. Secondhand trauma is a very real thing. And
Mhm.
people watching a movie, watching an abusive situation like a rape, for instance,
Mhm.
that can trigger people into having a secondhand trauma.
Yeah.
So we have to be careful with people's pain. We have to
Yeah.
be right into our pain. But here, let me just set it up. One of my individuals, she had a brutal rape. We wrote her scene all the way up to where she was cornered and what was going through her mind. Then we dropped it, took it to another scene somewhere else, and
Mhm.
then we brought her back in as she woke up in a hospital bed, not knowing
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
And then she starts remembering that they had been approached. But the real story was she going to be the victim? Yes, she was definitely a victim here. But was she going to allow what they did to her define who she became in life?
Yeah.
Because this was a pretty severe, to where she was young and had never been with anybody. And
Yeah.
so they took a lot from her.
Yeah.
And she was a beautiful young woman, and she had that choice of, am I going to be defined? She got pregnant for it. Was this child going to be defined as
Yeah.
who they were? So instead of focusing on that, we focused on how she battled through, um, defining herself not because of somebody else's sickness, somebody else's who they were, and the what they had decided to do out of
Well, and you holding her
Mhm.
hand, walking
Mhm.
her through, this is how we're gonna take this.
Right.
One had to be a catharsis, but two,
It
we get out of victim mentality because guys, the healing does not happen in victim mentality. It is
was.
part
Mhm.
of the process to go, oh my gosh, I was a victim. Yes, but you can't, if you stay there, you're gonna stay stuck. And so writing this, right, and
Mhm.
having the support, having you hold their hand, go, all right, this is how we can do this and structure it in a way that's going to be safe
Right.
and feel safe for you, is such a catharsis. And it is motivation, and it is inspiration
Yeah.
for other people who have experienced those things to not give up hope,
Right.
because hope can keep us going on
Yeah.
some really dark days. Oh my gosh, I'm getting
Absolutely.
chills. Yeah, the
The
hope.
beauty is how we bring hope is, let's be honest, most of us, instead of responding correctly to a trauma or something bad happening to us, we react, which
Mhm.
makes it even harder. And
Yeah.
so the story is in, yeah, that happened. She reacted negatively for years. And then
Mhm.
she started redefining her life based on what she wanted to be known for. And that was just something that happened to her, but it did
Oh,
define her. So
yeah.
helping through the protagonist, usually, and the protagonist is the main character, they're the hero character, most likely in a memoir. It's the person's story that is the protagonist. So it's how they respond, how they correct, how they react. It's
How
all
they
of
grow, how they
how they
expand,
grow.
or how they move through,
Yeah,
right? Move through, guys, not get
yeah,
stuck there.
yeah.
So,
Don't get
yes. Okay, so your work is rooted in faith, purpose, and belief. That stories, this is the biggest thing about you, Missy. And I think so many writing coaches and I think publishers certainly do not feel this way or support their authors the way that you do. But you believe that stories are instruments for impact. So
mm,
talk to me about your philosophy about your whole publishing, both publishing sides and the whole purpose of what it is that you're doing, because
yeah,
it doesn't really exist in other places. I don't think.
no.
At least when I was shopping around, I couldn't find it.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
No, we really care about what kind of book a person is going to put out, because we know that deep inside, and that's why my first interview with people, I really want to go deep and go, why and what is this about? Now there's some people that come to me and their books, I know immediately, oh yeah, this needs to be out there, this is going to help people heal, and transformation's going to come. So that is our deepest thing. If somebody's just writing a book to get rich or famous, that's
Yeah, guys, not gonna happen.
guys, there are
Not if
19,
that's your incentive. Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
there are 19 streams of income that can come from your book. There, just know there's 19
Woo!
streams.
Hello. Okay.
So, but it is the first thing you do. So if it's the first thing, that means it's foundational. So
Yeah.
that means everything has to be intact. The message has to be intact. You have to have a problem that now you have the promise delivered to your reader. Readers are reading because they're trying to find answers, revelation. They're trying to find healing, even if it's a nonfiction book. They're trying to learn something. They want to finish your book, put it down, and rise up, seeing the
And
world
be
differently.
reflective, right?
Mhm.
Be in a
Yeah.
reflective state about their own lives, right?
Yes.
Make them think.
It
Yes.
we read to expand. We
Yes.
want to expand our mind. We want to expand our world. We read to expand. We read to get better. We want to
Yeah.
be a better person. I hardly know any, well, other than my teenagers who don't want to, be better. My teenagers now want to be better. But at first they're like, Mom,
Look, my daughter's 24. She's just now getting there. I'm like, sweetie, you got to start taking care of yourself. Mama can't be solving all those problems. I was like, I thought I was done at 18 when she moved out. That was not the case.
Yeah, I know. My daughter used to make fun of me. Why do we have to eat organic? Why do you have to buy at farmer's market? And I'm like, just wait. And she's like, no, I want.
You're gonna feel better.
Now everything's organic.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes. Yeah. With mine, she'll come up with an idea, and I'm like, I've been planning that in your head for 2 years. And she's like, Mom, I got such a great idea. And she'll tell me, and I'm just like, oh, honey, that's a really great idea.
Great idea. Where did you hear that? Just wondering.
Oh my gosh. Missy, okay, you and I could talk for hours. I know. Listen, I want anybody out there that has an idea that they feel like needs to get out into the world, contact you. How can people contact you?
Well, they can go to my website, MissyMaxwellWorton.com. And there is a section on there where you can book a call with me. So just look under there.
Easy peasy, guys. You don't have to write it down. We'll put the link directly in here. You can click directly on the link. And Missy is so down to earth and will be honest and open and hold your hand through start to finish the whole process. And guys, honestly, it doesn't really exist out there right now. So congratulations, Missy. You have created something that has helped so many of us continue to fulfill our missions here, and you're doing such important work. So thank you from me and from the people out into the world that are receiving these messages and changing their lives because of these messages. And again, hope is what we cling to on the really dark days, and I think you have authors that offer that to us. So thank you for the work that you're doing. All right. We always close out with 2 questions. You ready for them?
Yes, I'm ready. All
right. In your own life, what did you perform in order to survive? And what did dropping that role, mask, or performance do for you? Or how did it improve your life?
Well, I was raised with 3 older brothers, so I had to eat fast. But
Brody eats fast. I'm like, what are you doing?
I think what I did, I was so quiet. I was a wallflower because I was told so much, not by my parents. I was just told to sit down and be quiet. Being raised, not by my parents, others would say to me, authority figures, Missy, girls don't speak. Missy, just sit down. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say. And I recognized I recognized my voice carried power.
And then that's a big revelation. Yeah.
And when I recognized that I was well-meaning people that valued the male rather than the female, and I'm actually talking about the church. The church was saying it was the men lead, women sit down. And so I've come out of that belief, obviously.
Obviously, we see you now, sister. We see you now. You're not in any shell anymore. No. That's hilarious. I used to have to tiptoe through my house because my dad didn't like kids, so I was a quiet kid too. Amazing how we came out of our shell. I love it. But what did that do for your life? Like using your voice because you recognized in the individual power of your one voice.
Yeah.
What does that do?
What it did, I had to look at what I said because with our words, they create power. And so, we have so much power in words. I started researching frequency and the frequency of words, different things like that. And I recognized there are words we can put out there that can absolutely demolish and destroy people and can destroy us because we hear the most of what we think, but how we speak to our children. That was one of the things when my kids would mess up, I would be like, okay, this is not them. So how do I call forth what I want to see in them? And, I had one that just did not know how to not tell a lie. I mean, it would be like, no, the sky is black. It's not blue today. Um, but I mean, and I would just say, okay, your mouth you are going to be such a strong speaker, and you're going to say
Oh,
things that people, their lives are going to change, and you're going to bring healing because of what you said. Their eyes are going to be open, and they'd look at me kind of like, teenagers. All my kids thought I was crazy until they got into
there's
their
always an until moment. Yeah, because now I'm getting their mama. I see.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just the
I
power of
see.
words. And so I
Yeah.
started really watching what I would post, really watch what I would say to my kids, really watch what I would say to my husband. And that was one of the things that was so revealing to me, is that when I was in the place of fear, I let loose of things that I normally would rethink. I was reactive instead
Yeah.
of responsive. And so I've
And
learned.
coming from love, because love is actually our natural state of being.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and love is one of the highest frequencies we can have. Authenticity is even higher than love. So if
Ah, say
yeah,
that again, girl. Authenticity is higher than
authenticity is
love.
even higher than love. It is 400 times as high as love. The frequency of love is 528 hertz, but the frequency of authenticity is off the charts. So when
Wow.
you love someone authentically, and that's why you write, because you love and you want to help others heal. And that's one of the things I learned. I learned that my words heal and my writing heals. And so when I delivered it in love and authenticity, then it hits people's heart. It opened their hearts. And once you can open someone's heart, you can get to the wounded places and really bring revelation and healing to others. But I first had to heal and have revelation for myself. And my husband, everything he did, I married the right man, because
Mm.
he allowed me grieving of my past. He allowed me to face the ugly of my past and realize that, it's okay that I went through that, because I went through it because I was taught that way. I
Yeah.
was taught that way. And I had to read.
Conditioned. Yeah.
I was
Conditioned.
conditioned, I was programmed to believe certain things.
Yeah.
If somebody voted for this way, that meant, they couldn't be your friend. No. No, I love everyone. I don't care who
You
you voted
do.
for. I don't
You
care
do.
what you've done in life. I love you. I know your life is a journey, and you're at a certain place in your journey that maybe I was 20 years ago, but you're coming to where I am.
Right on, sister. Right
Mhm.
on. Well,
Yeah.
last question. All right.
Mhm.
What do you think or wish we were having more conversations about? What do we need to be talking about more right now?
That's a good one.
Mhm.
I do think we do need to talk more about people, deprom well, let's just put it this way. The mess we're in our nation and across the world is because other people have programmed us to believe the way they need us to believe, so we are controllable. And I think if we dismantle the false narrative and start looking at humans as they're our brothers and our sisters. We're all one. It
Yes.
doesn't matter your
We are
pigment.
one.
Yeah, it doesn't matter your
Yeah.
pigmentation, doesn't matter your religion. It doesn't. We need to love above all, and we can't love other people when we're sitting there judging them.
Mhm.
And I think we need to talk more about, how do we love well? How do we love people who are in a bad place? How
Mhm.
do we love them into a place that's good? And a lot of stuff you have to overlook is that they're angry, ugh, and they're mad, and they're hurt, and
Mhm.
they're very afraid. And those are all low frequencies that land underneath 15 hertz, which
That is low. Yeah.
that's low, and you have to be above 100 hertz to maintain a health. So once you fall below 100 hertz, you are now in an area where it is prime for creating disease,
Disease.
uh-huh,
Disease.
and sickness. So if you want to live a long, healthy life, focus on love, kindness, authenticity, and just loving other people. Be kind.
Yeah.
You don't have to be mean to people. You don't have to blow up at people just because they don't understand your situation.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
know what people have been through in the grocery line.
You don't know what shoulders of the previous selves they're standing on. You don't. You
Mhm.
don't. So I love that. Focus on just simply loving one another
Yeah.
and our words, and you can help with that. So friends, if you have a message that's been gnawing at you, I'm telling you, that is not accidental. I promise you, it has been placed there by the divine. Yes, right.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
Missy will tell you it's been placed there by God, and it's not accidental, and it's meant to be told. So
Yeah.
if you're feeling super stuck, reach out to Missy. And as always, I'm going to ask you guys the same question I asked Missy. Consider, what have you performed in order to survive? And what might dropping that role masker performance do for your own life? I'm
Mhm.
your host, Lisa Lacy. This has been our guest, Missy Maxwell Worton. And when you answer that question, we will see you at the edge. Missy, thank you so much.
Thank you. Mwah.
Mwah.
So much.